Dave, wipe that silly smirk off your god-dang face.
Sorry.
Do the Cowboys have too much belief in Dak Prescott?
No. Why is that the question? Why? Because Jerry Jones said that? One of these days we're gonna realize that Jerry Jones just says stuff. So what? Jerry Jones likes to build his guys' confidence up. He's done this with Zeke 3 times this year. We go as Zeke goes. Zeke is the straw that stirs the drink. Talking right after Tony Pollard had the game of his life, he's talking about how much Zeke means to the team. He likes to build his guys up. Dak didn't play well. Dak is a good quarterback. I personally believe Dak is a good enough quarterback to win a championship with.
You also embraced a quarterback competition. Jerry did.
Yeah. Again, building up Cooper Rush, building up a guy who was put in a hard spot, saying, wouldn't it be great if we had that to talk about? Jerry likes to do this type of stuff. A, because Jerry likes being in the news cycle, and B, Jerry likes to inspire confidence in his guys. Wouldn't it be a more noteworthy story if the owner of the Cowboys was like, hey, we got to do something about this guy. We gave him too much money. You can't say that. Why does this bother you so much?
It bothers me not because Jerry's saying it, my guy Will, Joy Taylor, Dave Helman. It bothers me because people believe it. If Jerry was saying it and guys like you wouldn't believe it, I wouldn't be bothered. But the problem is you got guys that actually out here think that Dak is great enough, good enough to win you a championship. I don't believe it. 1-3 in the playoffs. First and foremost, he's going on year 7 in the league, so the fact that he's only 1-3 in the playoffs kind of tells you mathematically he ain't made the playoffs every year. So 1-3 in the playoffs. Then as I look at the NFC as it currently stands, what quarterback is Dak unequivocally better than? I can think of one. Daniel Jones. I'm not saying Dak Prescott's unequivocally better than Geno Smith. I'm not saying he's unequivocally better than Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying he's unequivocally better than Kirk Cousins. Definitely not saying he's unequivocally better than Tom Brady. Not saying he's unequivocally better than Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs. So there is one quarterback in the current playoff picture that I think Dak Prescott is unequivocally better than. You got to argue about anybody else. Got to argue about Kirk. Got to argue about Jimmy. Got to argue about Geno. So that is why I am bothered by it. Because Jerry Jones might be telling lies, but some people take those lies to be truths.
You go right ahead and you take your Kirk Cousins big game record and your Jimmy Garoppolo playoff stat line and you have fun with those. You just take them.
What you gonna take?
If I'll take
win?
Dak
You gonna take your one playoff win?
He played well and was a reason why they won that game. That's more than Jimmy Garoppolo
He's a big part of their success.
He's a huge part of their success.
They do not compete without him.
The question is very simple. What's success?
He's 61%.
I'm saying what success? The one playoff win since 2016? That's success?
First of all,
what's success? I'm curious.
This is his seventh. This is his 7th year. Mm-hmm. He's trending toward
6. You got hurt.
Well, I was about to say no. Thank you. You were.
Sorry,
we were going
to jump ahead.
We were going to make
the same point today, so I was trying to help you out. You know what I'm saying?
You did a great job.
All right, cool.
This is his 7th year. He missed one due to injury, so take that off the board. They finished with a winning record another year, so they were in the mix that year as well. He's trending toward another playoff appearance. So what's that? You're 16, 18, 21, and now 22. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think the Cowboys will make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's 4 times in 7 years.
One win to show for it.
What are you mad about?
I'm mad at the fact that
Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. I never said he was the best quarterback.
You didn't. You said he was good, but we're talking championships. That's what Jerry Jones is talking about. Joy Taylor, what you talking about? Do the Cowboys have too much belief in Dak?
No, the Cowboys have too much belief in Jerry. Why are we talking about Jerry Jones? As usual, we're talking about the owner of the Cowboys and a quote that he's giving once again. What did I write right here? Cooper, thank you for bringing that up, Will. This is the same Jerry Jones that encouraged a quarterback competition between a practice squad player and a guy you just paid $160 million. This is the reason why I always say this. I don't take the Cowboys seriously. We have 25 years. 25, 26.
26.
26 years of evidence. I'm an evidence girl. I like facts and figures. 25 years, 26 years. We've watched the same thing with the Cowboys. Talent, quarterback, stars, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. What do? They disappoint. Why do they disappoint? Because they do the same thing every single year. Jerry Jones is the face of the organization. No other organization does that.
So there's one common denominator, as you're saying.
Basically,
correct. Yes, that's what it is. There is an answer. It's right here. It's the best business model in the world. It is the best sports business model in the world. It could be studied repeatedly. If you want to make the most money of any organization on planet Earth, you do what the Cowboys do. If you want to win championships, you don't do what the Cowboys do. It's as simple as that. That's what the evidence shows you over a quarter of a century. More than a quarter of a century. And so your point about Dak Prescott, who do you think really, be honest, right now, is a confetti guy in the NFC? Forget the AFC. In the NFC.
I like that term,
Not even a
confetti
confetti
guy.
That's a good question.
Shout out Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. Who can win a championship? Who is a championship team in your mind, honestly?
In the NFC, Jimmy
took a deep breath,
Garoppolo,
too.
Tom Brady.
Jimmy Garoppolo lost a Super Bowl, so he's not a confetti guy.
No, just because you lost one doesn't mean you're
He has never won a Super Bowl, therefore not a confetti guy. The confetti guy did not fall on Jimmy Garoppolo's
But he'll get you there.
face.
So you're saying the only confetti guys can be if you've won Super Bowls?
Who can you see winning a Super Bowl?
I would
We
say
know Jimmy can't do it
this
because he
season.
had an opportunity to do it and he didn't do it. So he's not a confetti guy right now.
No, that logic is
Come on, I'll show you.
irrational.
You in the
Tom
heat
Brady
right
is the
now.
only one- Tom Brady is the only
Tom
one.
Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
You think Aaron Rodgers can win a Super Bowl this year?
Are you talking about talent, or you're saying what do I expect to happen?
I'm saying if you're arguing that it's ridiculous that Dak Prescott could win a championship, who are you arguing for? Jimmy G has had many opportunities in the postseason. He's done
But
well and lost.
wait.
He's made it far.
How can you argue for Dak over Jimmy? Jimmy's significantly more successful in the playoffs. I'm not going to penalize Jimmy Garoppolo for going to the Super Bowl and losing
All right.
more than I'm going to penalize Dak for not even
I will submit Jimmy Garoppolo. Who else? I will submit Jimmy Garoppolo.
I won't. I'm not giving it on that.
I won't either, but I'll submit.
I'll go-
I like Jimmy's big game experience.
I like
go-
Jimmy throwing for 110 and no touchdowns in the playoffs. Like,
At least
cool.
he's not going to throw a pick, but
You're on a
Hurts.
loaded team.
Jalen
Hurts?
Jimmy's not gonna okay.
Jalen Hurts? Wait.
This is what drives me crazy about
I'm
this
so mad
conversation.
right now.
Yeah, just
I'm so mad
this
right
is what
now.
drives me crazy about this conversation.
I'm confused now.
You're arguing against Dak Prescott, right?
Correct.
But you're arguing for Jalen.
I'm not arguing for anybody. You made me answer a question that I gave you
Okay,
a valid
but
answer
how
to.
can you get angry about the Dak Prescott prospect if Jalen has not won a playoff game?
For this reason.
Kirk Cousins is abysmal
For
in
this
big
reason.
games and has the exact same amount of playoff wins as
Just
Dak
cross your
Prescott.
eyes when you said that?
Abysmal. Abysmal.
For this reason. I'll give you two very valid reasons. Number one, since 2019, Dak Prescott is 4-15 versus playoff teams. So you want to talk about abysmal? 4-15 versus playoff teams is pretty abysmal.
Okay, so Kirk and Dak are a wash then.
Fair. So I'm just saying, whatever you talk about Kirk-like, talk about Dak-like. And whatever you talk about Dak-like, you talk about Kirk-like. But we're not going to talk about Dak like he a god and talk about Kirk and Jimmy G like they
We're not saying
average.
that.
Nobody
we're not saying
talks
he's a god.
about
We're
Dak
saying
like
is he
he's a
capable?
god.
We're saying, is he capable?
But what has he shown you to say he's capable? My thing
That he's a winning quarterback. That's what he shows he's capable.
winning quarterbacks against losing teams. He's a winning quarterback against losing teams.
The Cowboys are losing against those teams.
But here's my thought process, though, because I think
I like having Will here. It's so much better than Shady.
I think Shady's going to rewatch this. You acting like this episode just going to
We're on TV now.
I think an uncommon talent can override a common denominator. I think
Absolutely not.
Joe Burrow.
How? They lost.
Joe Burrow got the Bengals.
What's the common denominator, though, with
Common
the
denominator
Bengals?
for the Bengals is you go to the playoffs, you get mollywopped. Think about Andy Dalton. 6 times you went to the playoffs, 6
They
times
got
you
a
got
whole
bounced.
new coach.
But I think the ownership is all the same. The management is the same. The CEO is the same. The owner is the same.
They got a new coach.
But if we're talking about Jerry Jones as the owner,
And they got Joe Burrow.
that's my point. That is my point. And they have Joe Burrow. If you have an uncommon talent like Joe Burrow,
He was the
then you
best
can
player coming out of college.
But that's my point.
Dak wasn't.
Okay.
Dak was Romo's backup, and when Romo got hurt, he took over.
But now we got $160 million, so stop talking about college. You're talking about 2016.
Yeah,
now.
no, I
Stop talking about college
understand
now,
what
Coach.
you're
I know what you're saying
I
in
understand
terms
what you're
of
saying, but like it's
why are you buttoning up your jacket like that on me? First of all,
He's about to make a point. When he starts the point, he unbuttons it. When he finishes it, you gotta have movement. What I'm saying is, who do you have unrequited confidence in?
I like that point.
That you would be so appalled at the idea of Dak in the NFC.
Yep.
That's my point.
That's
like
fair.
other than Tom Brady this year, because he's done it a million times, and they still are going to make the playoffs because of their division. You can't talk to me about Aaron Rodgers. They had a nice win, but they're out of it right now. They have to be perfect for the rest of the season.
Who's out of
to
it?
even be, the Packers.
Packers.
Yeah, they lost 5 games in a row. It's the NFL.
I
Like,
heard
that's-
Tom, and I heard out of it. I'm like,
No. Tom's not out of it at all. They're going to win their division. So who else?
I guess we're saying the same thing. We're saying it differently. Remember, I started off by saying there is no quarterback outside of Daniel Jones that I think Dak is unequivocally better than.
there's too much belief.
You're saying there's nobody that Dak is unequivocally worse than. So we're almost saying the same thing. I'm saying, like, Dak, I don't trust that Dak could beat the Cowboys, that Dak could beat the Vikings, that Dak could beat the Eagles, that Dak could beat the Seahawks, that Dak could beat the Bucks, that Dak could beat the Niners. There's nobody that I'm like, oh, Dak, you got that in the bag. There's no quarterback that I trust is significantly worse than Dak when I'm like, oh, it don't matter. The Cowboys got Dak.
But when you look at the teams, right? Like when you look at the teams, do you really feel that way? Like let's consider that football is a team sport.
All players. I don't think that I don't know that the Cowboys as a team are.
Does Cowboys with Dak beat Philly that week?
No, but I do believe it's closer, and that's what I've been arguing.
It's a better game.
That's what I've been arguing.
It's a better game.
I think the Cowboys, if they stay healthy in Dallas, likely can and will knock off the Eagles.
Because those interceptions are horrible.
They were. But Dak's interceptions are horrible, too. He's had 4 starts this season, Dave Helman. He's thrown picks in 3 of them, Dave Helman. He gave the Chicago Bears a free 3 points. He gave the Green Bay Packers 6 points because he didn't capitalize on 6 points. That's what I'm
Here's
wondering.
the thing. At the end of the day, the Cowboys do not have a chance of competing for Super Bowl without Dak. Period.
Well said.
They don't have a great chance with him.
No, they do.
Statistically,
They have a pretty good
They don't.
chance.
How?
Because if the Cowboys...
You're not about to flip my statement, buddy.
If the you got a button before you make the
Yeah.
I got 2 buttons.
Here's
I
why.
got 2 buttons.
I think, honestly, Dak Prescott's peak is behind him. And I don't think that's an asinine statement to make. I think Dak Prescott's best days at quarterback are behind
That's
him. The question
big.
is,
That's a bold.
how long can he maintain this level is the question. But I don't think Dak Prescott was a more dangerous quarterback in my mind when Dak Prescott was a better runner. When Dak Prescott was a more willing runner. I don't think he's a bad runner. I just don't think he wants to run anymore.
Willing is a better word because he's shown this year, he's shown the ability to do it. He had a 35-yard run against the Bears. He scored a touchdown on a read option. I agree with you. That's the thing. Like, I get penciled into this corner where I'm just like the #1 Dak stan. Like, Dak can do no wrong. I just think he's better than a lot of people want to give him credit for. He's got to clean up his decision-making. Like, the picks he's throwing are not going to cut it, especially if it's coming every single week, which is what we've been
that's
seeing.
where the elevation can happen in terms of just situational football. Because when we look at Dak, we look at him as a talent. Yes, he's very talented. Is he capable of leading a team? Yes, but it's situations, it's crucial situations. And that's where, okay, you mentioned Joe Burrow. He came in ready. Like, I call him Brady Jr. Like, that's what I call him. He came in ready to do that. The best quarterbacks, they understand situations. You know, you go back to Tom Brady. When he was in New England, that's what it was. They just mastered situations. So it's not so much, okay, I have here, you know, with Dak, they have 30 points per game. Without him, 21 points per game. It's not so much those numbers. It's like the key situations. Can he get that done? And I think that's the next step for him.
Let me ask you this, though, big dog. At the point in which Dak Prescott has been in the National Football League for 7 years and played high-level college football, it's not like he was at North Dakota State. At the point in which he's been in the National Football League for 7 years, why are we still talking about, man, Dak just got to learn situations? I mean, the dude has played 100-plus games. He would have had to, why are we still talking about things that you should be talking about with second- and third-year quarterback? Trevor Lawrence needs to learn situations. Justin Fields, learn situations. Zach Wilson, learn situations. Dak Prescott, I don't know that we should still be talking about something fundamental is situational football.
It depends on the information being passed. Because I feel like when you're in the right situation with the right coach, we don't know what those meetings are like. Prime example, like Tua. He found McDaniels, gosh, that is a match made in heaven for what he's able to do for him. And that's a big deal. A coach can either elevate a player's career or minimize it. And that's a big deal. I feel like right now, we don't know the conversations that Dak has had with the previous regime. We don't know what the conversations that are having now. We don't know what the game planning is like in terms of, are they actually going over, these are the situations versus, these are the numbers, these are the analytics we need to do to get these certain things to win the game. We don't know, but that's the problem.
And we do know Mike McCarthy is not the best situationally, because I would agree with
it goes off the rails from time to time.
That is really what's frustrating with the Cowboys is situationally they always make the wrong decision in the biggest moments. But I circle back again to the reason we're having this conversation. Why are we even talking about the Cowboys in the Super Bowl at all?
Because Jerry.
Thank you. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.